Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Hall meeting for Tuesday, April 16th, 2019. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, just want to start off with how some of us are feeling a little bit about yesterday when we learned about the tragedy taking place at one of the world's most historic sites, the burning of the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, France. Friar Manners Scarborough Historical Society had sent out a note today, which was actually from something that the New York Landmarks Conservancy had written, and it sort of summed up my feelings, and I think probably some others as well. Our hearts are breaking watching the devastation unfold as Notre Dame continues to burn. This is a tragic event, not just for Paris, but for the entire world. Notre Dame is beloved for its history, beauty, and architecture. No one who has stood in the immense nave, bathed in the colored lights of the rose window, ever forgets the experience. You do not have to be religious to feel what a loss this is to our world heritage. The building connects us to the centuries of human aspirations and artistic achievement. As we mourn for Paris, we encourage everyone to appreciate what religious buildings of all denominations mean for your community history and sense of place. And that's the end of the quote. We're certainly hopeful that there will be some success at restoration. I haven't actually heard lots of details today about what could be done, but it's interesting that talking about restoration of another historic site in one of our local ones, and it just reminds us how important our really a strong appreciation for all that has come before us and how it shapes our lives. So tonight, simultaneously to this meeting, you could also be at Teatown Lake Reservation to hear a report from Pace University Professor Dr. Mike Rubo on biodiversity in the suburbs. The Pocantico River watershed is a hotspot for natural resources. Mike is presenting the findings of his recent research, some of which was conducted right here in our town of Ossining open spaces and parks, specifically Ryder and our Arboretum, I don't even know what that space is called, but we have some open bird sanctuary, same kind of thing. So he's going to be discussing how the data can be used to direct conservation and stewardship in the watershed to better protect the biodiversity and functioning of this valuable natural resource, which is really awesome. It started at 6:30 p.m., but if you weren't able to make it, you can get additional info by emailing the Pocantico River Watershed Alliance at pocanticorwa@gmail.com, as they were one of the sponsors of this event. This Saturday, be sure not to miss the Ossining Historical Society's first tag sale of the year. Come to the museum at 196 Croton Avenue between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. and help them clear out some clutter and make sure to pick up some baked goods to help you through the Sunday scaries. You also have the chance to catch The Legend at Westchester Collaborative Theater for 2 more weekends. Head down to Water Street and check out what has been described as an urban fairy tale about a troubled young boxer and his ascent into the world of professional prize fighting. Tickets are $25. Visit wctheater.org to order yours. Next Tuesday, April 23rd, join Ossining Innovates at 7 p.m. for an evening at Speak Easy Creative Co-working at 127 Main Street, where the founder of Main Street Deli and the founder of Metro Pubs will speak about their experience starting a business in Ossining. If you are considering taking the leap into entrepreneurship and have some questions to ask, this is the perfect opportunity to hear from the experts right in your own backyard. Don't worry, the town meeting that night will be recorded and posted on YouTube, so you won't miss a beat, even if you skip the live version, which of course we hope you don't. Did you know that April is Earth Month? There are so many ways you can learn more about how to protect our environment at events in Ossining over the coming weeks. The Ossining Documentary Discussion Series hosted their first of 2 Hudson River-centric presentations last week with Councilwoman Jackie Shaw on the panel, Don't miss this Thursday's special event at Sing Sing Hill Brewery at 75 Spring Street, where a series of 3 films, I think it's the same 3 that they showed at your event, yes, Source to
I
See?
think it's 2 more, but there's just one.
Oh, there's just one, okay.
So it's the other 2.
So the other 2 will be shown, and they're called Source to See, Undamming the Hudson, and Growing the Grain. Those are the 3. They're all linked to our beloved river. As a special treat, Sing Sing Hill Brewery will be debuting a new beer for the occasion, the Keeper and the Kill. You will also have the opportunity to learn more about Green Austin's Earth Day Festival and the River Keeper Sweep, and wash it all down with a cold brew. This event starts at 7:30 p.m. and is free to all except for the beer. Speaking of which, Austin's 9th annual Earth Day will take place on Saturday, April 27th. We are, by all accounts, Westchester's largest Earth Day festival, and we're completely organized and run by volunteers from Green Austin, led by the brave, hardworking, and always smiling Susie Ross. Plans have been underway since last May, so you will not want to miss this year's offerings. The Town and Village of Austin will be sharing a booth where we plan to highlight the many environmental initiatives the Town and Village have been working on. We're also hoping to share an update on our Millwood Austin Go bike pedestrian corridor project, so be sure to come find us during the festival. And I just wanted to mention, I got here a little bit late tonight for my usual meeting time because I was at the public session for the Empire State Trail, the North County Trailway Safety Improvements section of the trail, which was hosted by the New York State Department of Transportation. And they have a set of plans of what's happening along the North County Trailway. The improvements are happening at around 133 and North State Road and Route 100. So I think that it was really interesting. I'm definitely going to add some comments in that are going to pertain to how the improvements that they're making there could be further improved to connect with our east-west connection and really help improve our business district as well in the town of Austin as well as in the village of Austin, and all connecting to Millwood and town of Newcastle. So I'll have more information to share probably in my update Friday on that. There's still time to order your rain barrels and composters. Heritage Papers?
I'm ordering it this week.
Okay.
So,
Councilwoman Detour is
yes.
ordering hers this
I got
week.
my
Anybody else want to
deluxe
compost?
set.
Okay,
Right.
she's getting the deluxe set. Okay. There's still time to order your rain barrels and compost through Green Austin and the Greenberg Nature Center. They're 50% off through April 24th. Once you've ordered, you can pick them up on Earth Day. Don't do the 25th, so you miss that 50% at the Austin Waterfront. Visit greentaustin.org to learn more. There's a lot going on for Saturday, May 4th, so mark your calendar now. Traditionally, the first Saturday in May is I Love My Park Day. Register to spend your day at the Old Croton Aqueduct State Historic Park, where I will see you if you're there early. There are 3 volunteer projects that could use some spare hands. Lop vines and invasive plants and bushes, help to restore historic stone walls, or restore plantings along the trail. So if there's something you're particularly handy at or particularly like to do or learn, make sure you bring the equipment to do that, and they also have some that they will provide. Be sure to register in advance, as some projects do fill up more quickly. Visit ptny.org/events and click on I Love My Park Day to learn more. You can also email Diane Alden at dalden, P as in Peter, C as in cat, at bestweb.net with any questions. May 4th is also the Green Austin Community-wide Tag Sale. This Friday is the last day to register your home for the low price of $25. You will receive a snazzy double-sided sign to attract customers who will already know what you have to offer, since they will already have clicked on your link via the interactive map on the Green Austin site. Your home will also be included in all of their other advertising for the sale. Condos, multifamilies, and nonprofits can also be part of the sale. Visit greentaustin.org to sign up before Friday's deadline. Also, River Keepers, River Sweep is going to be that day as well at the waterfront, and I don't think I see that here, but I'm pretty sure that you can sign up also for that through greentaustin.org. May 4th will also be the 2019 kickoff for OHCC's gravestone cleanings. This one will take place at Historic Dale Cemetery at 104 Havel Street between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. No experience is necessary. The experts will show you how it's done. Just make sure to wear clothes you won't mind getting wet or messy, and bring along a willingness to learn about Austin's important past, and I always say some extra elbow grease. Okay, so next up, unless my colleagues have any announcements, something would like to add? Good, okay. Tonight, the only item on our agenda is a discussion of the renovations planned for Dale Cemetery Superintendent's Cottage. We are joined by Stephanie Reiner and David Arango from Stephen Tilley Architect to give a presentation on the scope of some much-needed renovations to preserve the historic Dale Cemetery Superintendent's Cottage. This project has been several years in the making. We've spent a lot of time looking for grants, which we weren't successful with, but we are continuing to pursue this project, and we're excited to be getting closer to the bidding stage so we can preserve this historic structure in Dale Cemetery. We did borrow for this project about a year ago. As Stephanie and David will discuss, the renovation will focus primarily on the front elevation of the building, a base scope which will give us the most bang for our buck, making significant improvements to the most critical aspects of the building. Additionally, we plan on including some alternatives to the bid documents that are not as critical to happen all at once, but would still be good to accomplish while construction is happening at the building, like, for example, restoring the roof. After tonight's meeting, Stephanie and David will start the process of developing the final bid documents to bid in the coming weeks and hopefully complete construction before the end of 2019. So with that, David and Stephanie, would you like to join us up here at the podium or wherever you like? If you would prefer the handheld microphone, whatever you would like to do. It's up to you.
Is there a remote for the?
There's not. There's not a remote. It's just mess around. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, we are slideshow with this right here. So I'm gonna move this to the other. Yep. Is that good?
Hello, and thank you for having
The handheld. You need the handheld. I'm sorry.
How about that? Okay.
Perfect.
Hello, and thank you for having us. This is David Arango, and I'm Stephanie Reiner from Stephen Tilley Architect. And we just wanted to present a few slides on a little bit of the history of the building, and then go into the existing conditions and then the scope that Dave mentioned. These are just two items that give you an idea of the historical importance of the building. It was constructed in 1851 by Howard Daniels, a landscape architect that was well known in the Northeast, and the cemetery and the building were part of the Rural Garden Cemetery movement, which was popular at that time. On the right, this is an article from a little magazine flyer called The Genesee Farmer from 1856 and 57, when the landscape architect was essentially advertising the building as an evidence of his work. And you can see this image as well as the plans, which are interesting. It's a very interesting building compared to many of them. It also goes on to give a little description of the building, mentioning the cost of it for only $1,250. And it does help us know what it looked like originally, because there don't seem to be many pictures of the original structure. Mentions the exterior is covered in millworked pine flooring in horizontal courses. The roof is covered with tin and projects 2 feet. The window architraves are 2 inches thick, and a small hexagonal porch shelters the front door. The other main component that's supporting the historical importance of the whole cemetery is that it was listed on the National and the New York State Registers of Historic Places in 2013. It does list specifically the contributing resources, which are the overall plan, the entrance pillars, the caretaker's cottage, which is what we're also calling the supervisor's cottage, the stone walls, and then vaults and mausoleums throughout the cemetery. This is just a comparison of that same image from 1856 and 57 was something we just took this year to give you an idea of what it looks like now. So some of the changes that are most evident are the chimneys. You can see there's single double hung sash here rather than pairs. The porch is a little different, and and as well it's stuccoed currently versus the the horizontal boards that it mentioned, although it's not as evident from the image. And you really can't see the tin on the roof that they were talking about, and now it's asphalt shingle. These next few slides, I'm just going to take you around the building so you get an idea of the four sides. This is the east elevation, which faces into the cemetery. And one of the issues to potentially take care of, actually a major issue that needs to be taken care of, is this lintel, which is not as large as it should be to span across this window, which is causing a slight structural issue, and that really needs to be taken care of. Other concerns which relate to the various windows are, over time, those double windows like you had seen in the previous photo and the images have been changed. So they've been framed in, there's sort of gypsum board and different things happening, and the stucco is not over them, which causes great potential for leaks on the exterior envelope. This is the south elevation, which is also visible from the street as you drive up the hill. You see similar things happening here. This is a bathroom, which is why it has such small windows. And this is a kitchen, so it has a taller window. And then you see here the actual original trim and the infill windows that have been added there. There's also some foundation repairs that need to take place along here in general. And then this is the west elevation, also along the street. And you can see here that they've replaced the double windows with larger windows, or in this case, there is a pair. This is an example of the scope of work for the window replacement that we've been discussing. This is the elevation that you see here, sort of turned a little to the side from this side. And it has, one of the virtues of this building is a lot of the windows are very similar to each other and it's very symmetrical. So what we're proposing is to return it to these pairs of double windows as it was originally, which would be a very stark contrast. It would be a nice historical reference. And I think it would be a big change for the building that it would look much better and be more historically accurate. And this is just an example of the drawings we've been working on as we think about the various scope of work that could happen for the building. And in terms of discussing the scope, I was just going to summarize for you what we've been thinking about. The first item would be the existing porch is fallen in quite disrepair, and we'd like to reconstruct the porch, salvaging as many of the components that can be retained as possible and that can be restored. Over time, it seems that they've also changed the slope of the roof. It's a little bit flatter than it should be, so we need it to have a little bit more slope so that it sheds water better. The second item is to reconstruct the existing chimney as it is. That is a safety issue that is falling apart a little. It needs help from the roof line upwards to stabilize it. The third items are to replace the windows and the trim to match the original historic style on the north and west elevations, which are these main elevations that you're seeing in the historic image. Fourth component is to replace a basement window on the north elevation, which has been broken. In addition, as you've seen as we went around the building, there are areas that have been filled in where the window framing was altered, and that would need to be repaired and patched with stucco so that the enclosure would be complete and tight for the walls. And the last item for the base scope is to replace the incorrectly sized stone lintel that I mentioned earlier. Regarding the list of alternates that we're thinking about, the first item is to restore the front door, including the transom and the side lights. It's still in good shape, it just needs a little bit of help. The second item would be replace the remainder of the first and second floor windows on the other elevations, which would be similar to these that you're seeing on the north elevation, so going around the entire building. The third alternate would be the base scope for the porch roof is to be rolled asphalt roofing. An alternate would be to add a flat seam lead coated copper or a standing seam panel to be more similar to the original tin roof that was in the listing in the magazine that the structure had. The fourth alternate is to put a new asphalt shingle roof on the entire main roof. That roof is almost on its last legs and is going to need to be replaced in the near future. That also includes half-round gutters and leaders on it. The fifth alternate is rather than replacing the existing roof with asphalt shingles, to replace it with standing seam metal panel roof instead, which again would reflect the original tin roof. The sixth alternate proposed is to paint the entire stucco exterior one color. With the patching, they will get as close as possible, but you really need to paint the entire building to be able to have it one color as it should be. And the seventh alternate is to upgrade the chimney from a rebuild of the existing style to match the original chimney that you see in the drawing with the corbelling. What else can I help you with? Any questions, or did you want us to go through the drawings? Or how can we help you understand this better?
Well, I'm just going to open it up to the board if there are any questions, or also we have our highway. We do, yes, our highway superintendent, as well as our superintendent of Dale Cemetery, all in one person, Pete Connolly. Pete, did you want to make any comments at all about anything to the board as far as what your recommendations would be? I mean, right now, at this point in time, what we're doing is we're looking at the scope and we're getting ready to go out to bid. So we anticipate getting the bids back and then seeing what is, what the real costs are going to be at this time. But you know, if the board has any comments or thoughts at this time as part of the scope, because we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page when we go out to bid, that you comment. And because we have somebody here from Austin Historical Cemeteries Conservancy, Patty, I'm going to also let you, if you have anything, usually we won't have any comments from the public, but since you're the only person here and you're vested interest, I would also say if you had anything, we'd let you comment as well. So Pete, you first.
Well, we do have some water infiltration in the back office. That's from the side window with the lintel that's missing. There is foundation work that needs to be done. The front porch is shot and just ready to almost fall apart. So, yeah, the roof is predicted to last another maybe 4 or 5 years. So the main roof, yes. So it would be, you know, it would be a good time when we're doing everything, if possible, to get that done also. But everything that Stephanie mentioned is needed, and I think we'll look better in the for the neighborhood also.
Thank you.
Are you going to redesign the porch to be what it was or what it is? And I know you want to angle the roof so it drains properly, but are there other changes you want to make?
The re-angling the roof, the items that we would be able to reuse that are still in good enough condition to salvage would be keep the brackets, the little scrolls, and those porch columns can be restored. And it wouldn't need to have the railing on it, so there wouldn't be a railing actually. So it would essentially look a lot like what you're seeing here. But it would be, I'm sorry?
Not adding steps back. Steps.
No, oh, no. That's not necessary. Did that answer your question?
So it's going to remain the same shape?
Yes, correct.
Okay, with a different, but you're going to angle the drainage for the roof better?
Correct.
And something else that we talked about for the porch is that the materials that we'll use to reconstruct the floor will be a little bit more sturdy than just the wood. Now we use some sort of material that's a little bit better suited for being outdoors, so that there isn't, you know, a couple years down the road, we're not going to be facing the same problems. It's really going to last for the long haul.
Like a Trex or something?
No, it's using I-Paint. It's like a, sorry.
Sorry. I-Paint is a Brazilian wood. It's really good for exterior conditions. That is very durable. It's not necessary to maintain.
What's it called?
I-Paint. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, you said you bringing the chimneys back to their original, now, I don't know if that's exactly what you said, but you got two stacks over there and one over here, so what are you going to do?
Well, the base scope of work is just to, the chimney would look like it does now, it would just be more stable.
That one?
The one chimney,
Yeah.
there would not be a second chimney.
Oh,
And
okay.
the interesting thing, which you always have to remember when you're looking at these prints that somebody came up with, even when in the article, I'm not 100, I don't know, Pete, if you can comment, I'm not 100% sure that there was a second chimney, even though he drew it that way. Because here you can see this is where, this is the base for these chimneys, but there should be another one sort of over here that there doesn't seem to be. So I'm not.
I don't see where, I mean, the fireplace is blocked up in the living room.
Right.
But that may be over that one to the left, but I think that's
Right.
too far over, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, so
No.
that the second chimney is not
Because
an option.
I remember that a lot of these really old buildings, they had those dummies, more or less. There was nothing there, just.
You're right.
So
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
may be what it is.
Sort of to make it more attractive,
Yeah.
symmetrical.
Thank you.
Anybody?
I was just wondering, as far as the roofs, is there a difference in durability between the rolled asphalt and the lead-coated copper?
Asphalt shingles are usually anywhere from like 25 to 40 years, depending which one you choose. Metal roof?
In metal roof, you know, we can say
It's more durable in the time, but it's more expensive.
Right. But that's what I'm trying to get to, is that there's going to be a price difference, so is there a durability difference as well to make the price difference, you know, something that would be more tolerable, I guess?
Yeah, but with the metal roof will be beautiful because, you know,
Yeah, but historically, yes. it would be
Yes.
beautiful.
I think that's why we're asking for them to be as add alternates, so we can see what the separate prices are, and then when we get back the prices, we'll make a determination of what way to go. And I think Andy Teese has also been helping us on this project, and he's not around right now, otherwise he'd be here this evening, but I think that he was the one who was suggesting the ATAS, I don't know, ATAS, right?
That's a brand. It's metal panels, so it's sort of easier to construct than standing seam. They're both an option, but they will both definitely last longer if you install them.
And as far as Mr. Conley, if it's going to be very loud with that tin roof. I don't know how you feel about that. Exactly. Good point. Do you want to go through the drawings? Is that what you were suggesting?
If you think that would be helpful, I mean, we're still developing them, so they're not complete. The scope is more what we've described here, I think. I'm not sure if...
I don't know if anybody feels that that's necessary. If anybody wants, you're good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing they'll fix historically accurate colors.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Historically accurate colors. Will you be choosing historically accurate colors? Is the question for the color for the stucco exterior? Is that?
Well, if it's just patching it, we would match what's there currently, so that to try and match that. If it was accepted to paint the whole exterior, the whole stucco on the exterior, then there is an option to reponder the color. I mean, I think we don't quite know when the stucco was added. I think we're estimating it was the early 20th century, perhaps. And if we don't have normally we would look for a photograph or some type of information to support a different color that building had. So without knowing that it was different, we would sort of guess that it was probably this color the whole time, and maintain it or just alter it slightly.
Councilman Wiltshire just said off mic, doing all that work, it should be painted. I think that's pretty much how everybody feels. We know it's going to be expensive, but I think, again, I think that what we've been hearing, what's come up again in the conversations is that we all wish that this would be a less expensive project, but as a restoration project and trying to be true to the original building, things do tend to be more expensive. And that is one of the, the blessings and the curses of doing restoration. So as we're going through this process, we also know that once you're kind of in it and you're doing the construction, that there are going to be some economies of scale to be doing these things when we're doing all of them. But that's why we have all these ad alternates, so we can make a decision if it's worth doing them all at once. Are we going to wait to do these extras? Do we feel that it's necessary to just take care of as much as we can at once? So the things that we know we have to do are the porch and the roof and the windows and the lintels and some of the foundation work. The other stuff we don't have to do, and the chimney, the stuff we don't have to do, but we may decide that it makes the most sense to just do that as well. And I think that that's pretty much all there is, unless Victoria Caffarelli has been working on this project an awful lot. Did you want to say anything else, Victoria? Is there anything that you wanted the board to think about before we continue?
No, I think, we've been working on this for a long time and trying to refine what really has to be done immediately, and I think we've done a pretty good job of figuring that out, and then also looking at some of these more wish list items that would be really nice to accomplish all at once. But I think we're in good shape. I'm excited to see it actually can move forward.
And Patty, did you have any suggestions or thoughts?
It's exciting. I love it. It's very interesting. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, is that it? In that case, thank you so much, Stephen Tilley Architect, Stephanie and David. We appreciate you guys coming out tonight, and we're just going to continue pressing forward, I guess, with where we are. I think we're in a good place. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, we had a couple of other things that we were hoping to take care of tonight that didn't materialize. So we have a very, very short town hall meeting. So I am going to actually ask for a motion, if I need one, I don't even know if I need a motion, to go into executive session for personnel and advice of counsel. If I could have a motion, and then we will let everybody else take it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Please remember that town offices will be closing early on Friday, April 19th for Good Friday. I wish everyone a happy Passover and/or a happy Easter. I hope you'll join us next Tuesday, April 23rd at the courthouse for our legislative session. Have a great week and great holiday, everybody.